let's continue on with this topic of the for sale by owners. And let's today look at, really some of the scripts and the skills. And I think really only we got maybe one or two of you guys actually going after some of these for sale by owners and playing around with this this lead source. The truth is it's a pretty, I think it's a good source for a virtual assistant to go after because, I've dealt with for sale by owners for a long time, and as we discussed earlier in the last session, we discussed that really like only 15% of the FSBOs are actually worth us dealing with. And so for the average real estate agent, for them to kind of clean through all of the different FSBOs to find the ones that are accessible and that are a viable source is just, it's very time consuming. There's a lot of ups and downs. So it's actually a perfect task for a virtual assistant like yourself who, now in this training is becoming a power prospector, and you're developing some great communication skills, you're developing such strong mindset, you're getting really good with the scripts. So this is a perfect opportunity for you to, consistently filter through some of the FSBOs, find the best ones, and deliver those best ones to your boss. And what I find is, I'd say with most of the agents around the country, they're not very consistent with the for sale by owner. And one of the reasons why they're not consistent is because of that 15% rule, right? And in some marketplaces, the FSBOs trickle in, like for me in San Diego, one maybe a day, a couple a week. And so, when there's not that many, you just kind of lose track, think about it, and it just disappears out of your mind, you forget. So you can see why that's such a great opportunity for you as a virtual assistant to keep track, to follow up, to qualify, to clean, delete the crappy ones, find the good ones, and deliver the good ones to your boss. So that's the picture. So let's dive into some of the script, some of the skills, and let's just review. As I reviewed the script is just so simple. And so I want to take some time just to really help you to understand why I designed the script that way. Why did I keep it so simple? What's up with these questions? And as you guys remember, to learn a new script, you got to learn the question. You got to memorize the script. You got to understand why each question is the way it is, and then you got to learn how to deliver it in an effective manner. Well, I think the understanding and the delivery is really important with the FSBOs. Okay, but I just wrote this down. FSBOs I think are really funny and they're very entertaining because you get all kinds of weird stuff with FSBOs. And once you master the mindset and understanding the FSBO world, right, then the questions that you ask on the script, they become just super easy and fun. And that is where I want you guys to be, right? How many of you guys want to have a lot more fun, be more empowered, and in the end, generate more listing appointments for your boss? Sounds like a pretty good combination for me, okay? So, how valuable would it be for you and your boss to deliver these listing phone appointments a couple times a week? I mean, that's pretty damn good. So let's just remind ourselves, what's the definition of the script? The script is a series of questions, open-ended questions, and we all remember what those are: who, what, when, where, how, why. Those open-ended questions are designed to create conversation, right? That conversation is designed to lead you and the prospect to the desired end results. Now, for us, the desired end result is very simple with the for sale by owner. It's either set a phone appointment or, advanced version, set a listing appointment for your boss, or really delete them. Like, get them out of the system. It's either one or the other is all we're doing. We're either setting a phone or we're deleting. Either way. So our ability to ask these questions and to kind of qualify these FSBOs is critical. So let's take a look at some of the I refer to as clarifying questions for sale by owner. So hopefully you know what I mean by clarifying. You know, it's just all about clarifying. So the first question on the script is really, is this the owner? Are you the owner of the property that's for sale by owner? That's the first question on the script. It's a total clarifier. Okay? Why that's important is because, you know, some of the, you know, let's say a landvoice.com or a RedX or a Vulcan 7 or one of these services that finds FSBOs and packages them up and deliver us to them. Well, not all of the services have accurate phone numbers, right? So they don't have accurate phone numbers, so sometimes we're clarifying, is this the owner of the property that is for sale by owner? So that first question is just a clarifying question, right? Really important. Okay? The second clarifying question is the property still available or did it already sell? Right? Because there's no point in us launching into the script if the property's already sold. And, you know, if you call some for sale by owners, you might find a bunch of them have already sold. So there's no point moving on until we figure that out. Is that property still available or did it sell? Great clarifying question. Are you working with real estate agents? This is a very important clarifying question, and it doesn't stop us whether or not, you know, if it's a yes or no. It just helps us to know which version they are. Most for sale by owners will say something like, yes, if you have a buyer, you can set an appointment to see the property with your buyer. That's what most of them will say. Most of them will say, we will pay you a commission if you bring the buyer who wants to buy our house. So most FSBOs are a yes to a real estate agent coming over with a buyer to purchase the house. Okay, most of them are 100% a yes. Very few are, no, we're not. And if they're a no, we're not, they're really only a no, we're not for like 30 days because we want to try it on our own for 30 days. Remember, as we discussed in the last training. And either way, it's totally fine. We just want to know, right? Is this, you know, they said yes or they said no. Either way is totally okay. We're just clarifying, right? Just clarifying. And then I put this on the script, and it may seem awkward, but it's very relevant. Is the property ready to be shown, or are you still working on it? Okay, this is a very relevant question, and why I put that on there, because it I put it on there after the will you work with an agent question, because I want to take them back to, hey, we're interested in seeing the property. So is it ready to show, or is you still working on it? Right? And that kind of just takes them back to, oh yeah, no, it's ready. We're ready to sell, or yeah, or you're actually going to hear a lot of times, no, we're not ready, right? Or we're not ready until the open house, or no, we're not ready until this or that. That's really important for you to kind of take some notes, write it down, put it in your notes, deliver that to your boss. So there's a lot of can you see what I mean by clarifying questions? Like, we're not selling anything. We're not trying to get a listing appointment. We're just clarifying. We're just identifying. Okay? So, you know, as we've already, you know, as I've already said multiple times, we're just clarifying, is this a real opportunity? But I also like this word, are they responsive? are they responsive to us? And I think, you find some FSBOs are very responsive, some are super not responsive. And that kind of helps us to gauge kind of what are we going to do. Gosh, this one was super rude, super abrupt, didn't want to answer my questions, was firing back questions back at me about why I'm asking that. That's not really responsive. Others were super responsive, answering all the questions, just going down this thing perfectly. Whoa, okay, cool, super responsive, great opportunity. You can see how important that is. Now, once we do some clarifying questions, it's time to get into motivation. Okay, so we kind of clarified they're responsive, they're real, this property's still available, they're working with agents, the property's ready to show, like, cool. Boom, it's time. Let's get to motivational questions, right? And I want you, remember, let's just think about this. Why is motivation everything? Why is that? Well, let's take a look, okay? Because with the FSBO, low motivation equals no urgency. And do you know what I mean by urgency? Urgency means like there's no motive for them to act. They are not ready, they don't want to do anything anytime soon. We need to clarify what that means, and I want you to be able to listen for that. But when they have high motivation, and that equals high urgency, that all determines our follow-up plan. High motivation, high urgency, get the agent, get your boss over there like immediately. Low motivation, low urgency, all right, we'll probably just need to put them in some type of follow-up plan. See, so the motivation really determines everything. Let's talk about the qualities of motivation, because with FSBOs, there's some interesting stuff that occurs, and motivation is a really interesting conversation. So what are the qualities of high motivation? Right? The qualities of high motivation is they already have another home. So if you were to say, well, if you were to sell this home, or once you sell this home, where would you move next? And they say, well, we already have one. Oh, they already have another home. So that means they have two homes. And if you have two homes, usually you're paying a mortgage payment on both of them. So do I want to pay two mortgage payments on two houses for a long time if I'm just going to move to the other house and no longer want this house? Do any of you want to pay two mortgage payments when you're only living at one house? The answer is no. Okay, so when you hear this response, I already have another home, that's a high motivation. They are no longer living there, right? That's a high motivation. So it's like they moved out. They no longer live there. That means they're paying for it and they don't live there anymore. That's something you want to be listening for. They already bought the next home and they need to get this one sold. I see that too a lot, right? And it's like, this is high emergency. Okay, so there's a lot of people that own multiple homes. So it's like, I own this home, so we're selling that one. Cool, time to sell, high motivation. Then there's people like, all right, well, I'm still living in my current house, but we bought a new house. It's under contract, and so now we're trying to sell this one, right? See, that person, that's totally high motivation. You'll hear that with FSBOs. They had it rented, and the tenant is moving out. Very common, because remember, we do run into investors with for sale by owners. So they had it rented, right? Then the tenant's moving out, so they put it up FSBO just to see if they can get an offer before the tenant moves out. Okay, because the moment that the tenant moves out, guess what? They're now paying for the mortgage. So money is coming out of their pocket. They don't like that. Okay? Well, what's non-motivation? And you know, the more you talk to for sale by owners, the more you'll start to understand motivation versus non-motivation, and you'll really start to get a much clearer sense of this. Okay, non-motivation. When they say things like, we don't have any plans to move yet, you ask, well, once you sell this home, where would you go next? We don't have any plans yet. Non-motivation, right? We haven't started looking. We'll start once we sell this home. That's a very common response with for sale by owners, right? They just figure, you know what, I'll put it up on, up on one of the websites, on Zillow, or Make Me Move on Zillow, or Craigslist, or one of these websites. We haven't even started yet, but I figured we just put it up just to see what would happen. Still low motivation, okay? We are retired and don't have to sell. That's a very common statement. We don't have to sell. We don't have to move. Listen, do I really want to work with a client who doesn't have to move? Or do I want more work with clients who definitely want to sell this home, who have financial reasons to get this property sold? Which one do I want? No motivation, don't have to, no financial reasons, or high motivation, financial reasons. So you hear that a lot with these FSBOs. I don't have to sell. Well, then why the hell do you have your home for sale? Right? Like, that's usually my first thought is, well, what the hell is this all about? Okay. So asking motivational questions, let's just review the basics. With a for sale by owner, instead of if you sell this home or if you ever sell this home, we're doing a little bit more assumptive language. Once you sell this home, where are you moving to next? Right? The ideal time frame, critical. What's the ideal time frame for you to sell this home and go move to the next home? Great question. Okay, now this is a very powerful additional motivational question that you guys should learn. What's important about moving to blank? Okay, so watch how this plays out. I ask you, all right, well, once you sell this home, where would you go to next? Well, we're going to move to San Diego. Oh, that's great. Well, what's the ideal time frame for you to sell this home and move down to San Diego? Oh, it's not a big deal. Whenever we sell this home, that's when we'll go. Oh, all of a sudden motivation, where'd it go? Ooh, down. Then I go, well, what's important about moving to San Diego? Well, we're retired. The grandkids are down there. Oh, grandkids are down there. Yep. And so we are going to sell this house and move down to San Diego. Okay, interesting. What just happened now with motivation? Kind of went back up. So one of the questions that I would ask is, how old are the grandkids? Oh, well, they're like, one, they're super young. Okay, well, as all of you know, do the grandparents really like to hang with the babies when they're babies? Most of them, yes. Right? It's really once they get older that the kids get annoying because they're older and they don't want to hang out with the old people. So there's like a window for old people to hang out with the little babies when they're still fun, and it's a lot of joy. So, all right, interesting. So let's look at this next question. Well, how important is it that you sell this home and get closer to the grandkids? How important is it that you get down there closer to the grandkids? Now they say, well, my wife really wants to get down there right away, but I don't want to sell this home. I don't want to give my home away. Boom. Now, what do we got? We've got, Wife has high motivation to get down there. Husband's kind of dragging his feet on the sale of it. Now, for me as a good real estate agent, that's a clue that says motivation is strong and this is a good lead. Okay, but can you see that those last two questions are what unveiled the motivation? Because if I didn't ask the last two questions, I probably would have thought, not motivated. So those two questions, the what's important about and the how important is it, those are two what I refer to as criteria type questions. Criteria, they get you the deeper response, the real response, which is what we're looking for. So that's powerful. We'll have to practice those and play around with those. But you can see this is really good stuff when we deal with for sale by owners. Okay, so what's the best opportunity with the FSBO? Let me share with you two of the absolute slam dunkers that are exciting. Okay, when you find someone that wants to buy a new home in the area and sell theirs first. So what does that mean? That means 2 commission checks, 1 client. So if you find me a FSBO, they want to sell their house and move in the area, boom, I can get over there, help them find the next one and sell their old one. Boom, I make double the money with 1 client. That is exciting stuff with a for sale by owner. Okay, critical. There's another awesome for sale by owner, and that is some of these old guy investors. Okay, and they're sassy when you call them. They're sassy, right? They ask you questions. They'll confront you. They're sharp. They're fun. I like them a lot, right? Because they're sassy old guys, and they own multiple properties, and they're starting to sell them off. So if I can win that client over, then I can get multiple sales from 1 client. So we want to be listening for, remember we discussed, there's the investor that's the flipper investor. They bought the home, fixed it up, and are reselling it. That guy, not good, we don't want him. But this kind of old guy investor who has many properties, and he's selling this one, or he might be selling 1 or 2, maybe even 3 or 4 at the same time. That one, ding, 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 that's the winner. Okay, so we want to be paying very close attention to some of these FSBOs. Remember, it's only about 15% are good opportunities. They're not all good at all. Most of them are, weird and funny and like crazy and lunatics. Then we just find those good ones, right? Remember from the last training, we identified the 8 different types of FSBOs that are, and which ones are good and which ones are bad. So hopefully you can just simply see that this whole thing is just about clarifying, identifying, and then literally handing off. That's it, right? That's pretty much it. So, it's not about trying to get an appointment. It's not trying to convince them. It's not trying to handle objections, right? That's my job as the real estate agent, right? My job as your boss is to start dealing with the objection handlers. That's what I'm here for. Your job is just simply, boom, be super conversational, ask the good questions about their plans, and just take good notes, and then just deliver. Just deliver them over to me. Put them into my calendar, and help me, just talk to more FSBOs that are the good ones, and I will be a very, very happy boss. Okay, so questions, anything I could do to support you guys regarding this topic of for sale by owners. The goal of this training was for you to now to be able to see the script in a much better way. Not so you're like, oh, it's just so scripty and you're asking these questions in weird, awkward ways. Remember, to learn a script, you have to, of course, chant the script. Number 2 is understand the question. Why is this question an important piece of the puzzle? Right? And then number 3 is how to deliver the question in a way that it's engaging, and we open up this whole conversation. And the FSBO script is just a simple series of questions that guides this whole entire conversation so that you know what to do. Delete them or set a phone appointment. Set a face-to-face appointment with your boss, because this is a hot one.